that's the tenet. This is the ultimate 90s coin-op that never actually happened. And so the gameplay is very much dialed into, if you were dropping quarters, everything but the quarters is kind of, and we pick up, we're using Once and Always as a jumping off point. If Robo Rita exists and if she has time travel powers, then what can we do? We can send her back to team up with her earlier self. And so our original Rangers, the original team from 93, does not know they're fighting two Ritas. But Rita knows 30 years of failure. So she goes back to original Rita and says, I'm going to stop you from making all the mistakes that you made. And of course, original Rita doesn't play like that. But that's the conceit of the game with a full 90s retro arcade aesthetic. The plot line is, can the Rangers defeat two Ritas at once if the deck is stacked against them? We're going to have a lot of references for fans that appreciate it. We're not showing all the gameplay today. We actually have some extra brawler gameplay that's not part of this demo because we want players to still be, be able to discover stuff on their own. But I would say 70% of it is brawler. The other 30% is Sega Superscaler stuff like Outrun or Space Harrier. That's going to be in the individual dinosaurs flying and running in the mechs and blasting everything in the environment during those segments. Plus, when you get to catch up to the giant grown boss, like a giant, a 30-foot high Goldar, it's going to turn into a punch-out thing. We found a way to make that fun for multiple players playing together, but there's only one cockpit, right? So that we went down a couple of blind alleys. I'll be completely honest. Some of our early ideas did not work. We just kept iterating until we found something that felt fun, where everybody's involved, but it's not just a crappy quick time event. So, I will also say that we have, in addition to that, we have some bikes. We have a fun bike section where you actually chase Krabby Cabby through the streets and try to take him down. And we even have, for the first time, you get to go to the juice bar. You're going to get to talk to Ernie. You're going to get to talk to Vulcan Skull. And we have some more secrets and unlockables that I don't want to talk about now, but lots of fan service. If you don't know the series, it doesn't matter. You're still going to be able to collect the same stuff to get, achievements and trophies. But if you do know the series, you're going to appreciate the deep cut references. I don't think we've gotten there yet, but there is a hidden secret in our demo. And that's Mr. Tickle Sneezer, for people that remember Mr. Tickle Sneezer from Season 1. Yeah. It's Trini's doll. Those are the kind of collectibles that we're doing. If we couldn't incorporate them in gameplay, we can at least have people go, yeah, we know. So, we've been working on it for about 18 months. I'm really proud of where it is and the reaction. This is the first time we're showing it live, and most people have been really just absolutely having fun because it feels like we've got the accessibility down. Even if you're not a Power Ranger fan, you just like old arcade brawlers, or you're looking for something to play with your friends, this seems to be scratching that itch for me.
This is definitely the game I wanted back when I was playing Turtles in Time with my friends and stuff like that.
Yeah, so we're the studio that did the Cowabunga collection, the Konami collection. So we have a lot of experience with old arcade games, and particularly recently, the brawlers like Turtles in Time. And so we actually, Hasbro let us know, hey, we're starting this new retro arcade brand. We have a lot of franchises. What would you want to do if you could do anything? And we said, would you let us do a brawler with Power Rangers? And they're like, well, pitch us your full idea. And they accepted it. And we said, but can we also throw in, driving and fighting and shooting? And they're like, yeah, you can do all that stuff. And so every step of the way, Hasbro has been really like, that looks great, keep going. That looks great, keep going. So the creative control we've been allowed to have on this is really a gift. But they know that we have the franchise's best interest in heart, and we're trying to make something that feels authentic to fans, but is also accessible to people that might not care as much. So it's been really a treat and a gift, like I said, to be able to. Okay. Hasbro's happy, we're happy. If the fans are happy, that's all we can ask for.
Okay. Have you guys, or are you guys interested in taking a stab at any other Hasbro properties?
That would be great. I mean, we got to survive this one. We have a lot on our plate. At Digital Eclipse, we have a lot of games coming out this year. We are also the developer behind the console version of Worms Armageddon, and we have a Tetris interactive documentary called Tetris Forever. It's coming out before the end of the year as well, so we are hella busy. But yeah, we would love. I mean, people have asked, are you going to do DLC? That depends. Is the game a success? Is the game going to be good enough to warrant DLC? Are people going to like it enough? Are you going to do a physical edition? We'd like to do a physical edition. We're going to do a digital edition this year for sure. We just have the resources to. But again, if the game is a success, then that sort of gives us an excuse to do a physical. So yeah, Hasbro has a lot of other properties and a lot of things that we could do. We could do more Power Rangers games potentially. There's obviously, everybody has their favorite crew, and we're just focused on the original season 1. You know, this is the 93 Power Rangers. And I know that makes a lot of other fans unhappy because they don't feel seen. You know, they're like, what about Time Force? You know, what about In Space? You know? And I get that, but you know, the scope of our game has to be what we can create right now. The future is unwritten.
Yeah.
You know, so like we'd be open to doing more with this property or with other Hasbro properties if given the chance, but it's all wait and see. You know?
You've already intelligently laid the foundation with having this be based in time travel, right?
Right. Yeah. So then it sort of opens up. I realize, you know, as somebody who's been working on the dialogue and the story, part of the fun has been any time that the engineers who are really creating the gameplay, it's very gameplay first. Like, hey, I've got this thing that I want players to do against this monster that I made that I thought looked cool. And I'm like, that doesn't have anything to do with Power Rangers. I'm like, it will when you tell us how it does. You know? And that's been a fun creative challenge, but at the same time, you know, it's easy as a writer to say, well, let's see, so I've got magic because Rita's a sorceress, and I've got technology because we have time travel. So between magic and science, I think I can make anything work, at least at the level of plausibility for a fun kid show that had a pig that wanted to eat everything that it saw on Earth. You know, like, so, you know, as long as you're down with the idea that we are lovingly preserving some of the melodrama of the original Power Rangers, and saying, like, just go with us. Some of these plots are silly, but we're going to make it plausible as if it were an episode of the show. I think you're going to be happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a little bit of hand waving, like, also it's an arcade game, we just want to beat up putties, you know.
Hey,
like,
that's like
everything. It's not canon, but it has respect for the canon that we know exists. That's the
I mean, with the way the Rangers are going now, it probably is.
I mean, if somebody wants to tell me it's canon, if, you know, somebody from Boom Studios wants to say this would make a great comic book, we would be happy to do that.
Right.
But we're assuming that we're just making something fun, similar to the way that, like, you know, a lot of the 90s brawlers and the 90s games that appeared on 16-bit consoles, they were the franchise in logo and character only, but they would introduce their own monsters, they would introduce their own enemies. It almost had nothing to do with the show. It never reflected the show. By doing something retroactively, we now have to respect 30 years of Power Rangers history, because the fans would be very upset if not. In the moment, you could be like, I don't care, in 1993, I'm playing a Power Rangers game, and that feels fun. Now, people have gotten emotionally invested in these character arcs, we've lost some of the original actors, you know, there's different emotion behind this. It's not just a kid show, it's somebody that you looked up to when you were a kid, or it's an actor whose performance you enjoyed, and this reminds you of that. So we're aware of sort of the weight of being an adult Power Rangers fan and the legacy of 30 years of loving this thing. But at the same time, I want to keep it light so that, you know, like a little kid who's 8 years old who's enjoying Power Rangers for the first time can still have fun with the older person in their life that's like, this was really special to me, I want you to join too. So we're really hoping that that comes through. We certainly take that seriously.
I also love the very wink nod way you guys kind of pitch the game, like, or put the game out. I saw the first trailer and I'm watching like the different scenes, and then I get to the roller coaster scene and I count the cars.
There's 6 cars there, and one of them is bright green. Yeah, so since we incorporated the story of Green with Evil, we incorporate Tommy's story into our narrative. Again, we're just an alternate history season 1, but there's no way that doesn't happen without Tommy, of course. And so once you complete the campaign, you defeat the final boss, Tommy will unlock, and you can play through future stuff as the Green Ranger. And yeah, we did hint at it, and some fans were really angry that we didn't come right out and confirm it, but we're like, let us have a little fun. This is a long journey for us. It's a shorter journey for you because we're like, game's coming out, you can play it this year, you know. But for us, we were like, we wanted to wait until National Power Rangers Day and announce and confirm Green Ranger. And so you chase him in that pseudo 3D section, and then ultimately you wind up for the first time in the cockpit, and you'll do a one-on-one like Super Punch-Out against Goldar. So the big fights that you always saw at the end of the episodes were like, how do we make that playable? That's what we've always wanted to do that the other games didn't do in the past. So again, when you can go back and say, it should have been like this, it gives you a lot of creative freedom. And again, Hasbro has been on board for whatever we want to do, and that's been so nice. So yeah, coming out this year, 5-player online, 5-player couch co-op if you want. PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, PC. If you're on PS4, you can play with PS5. If you're on Xbox One, you can play with Xbox Series. No cross-platform because that's a lot harder. But, you know, if you've got a friend that's on the previous generation or you're on the current, you can still play together. And we just really hope the fans like it. I assume you had some fun.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, good. I mean, you're not required to have fun. It's a media appointment.
I love